Hello, hello. So I wanted to do, man, I've been trying to figure out how the hell to do this. To be honest, I think I'm gonna pause it a little bit, but got a nice Redhead Scaup hybrid. So this one's flying. The last one, no, I guess the last one's flying too. Is the one before that. Um, so this is gonna be just about the wings, right? Main thing with this is I've sewed them up, put the wires in, all the basic stuff. There's nothing to this point. I just got in sewing them up and flipped them over. The problem being now is I kind of have to have them sit here in order to show. Obviously, the wings are they're just wired in. Nothing's been moved. But I really wanted to show this particular part. So, um, what I'm gonna do is so when you have, like, let me see. So basically, the wing, when it's coming out of the body, so it's going to be down a bit and then come out, and then you want to make sure that last little joint that you push the wire into, that's going to be bent. So if this joint, this elbow joint right here, is too far out, so say it's straighter like this, then the tertiaries are going to be too far away from the body as opposed to kind of laying right next to it. So that's the concept I'm dealing with. Is you want to mount a, let me see. Okay, so there's no way of really showing it other than, so why don't we do this? So like this one, it's kind of stretched out. So when I have it wired, normally it's going to be straight out, and so I'm just kind of taking the elbow and just kind of giving it a little bend, and then obviously once the primaries go open, it'll have that stretch. You can do straight out too if it's like, I don't know, for puddle ducks, honestly, that's normally a little better. Diving ducks are kind of a little bit more angled, compact, I guess. And then you want to make sure, actually, I need to go this way. So I normally said it's so freaking hard to do this. So I want to make sure, let's see. Just trying to make sure it's on camera. So I just want to make sure that the elbow is kind of close to the body. I'll bend that wing up a little bit. And then now it's kind of, obviously once the wire's in there, it's still kind of downward. So I'm just going to kind of cup it and bend that elbow part up. And then that way it's kind of a little bit, trying to think of how to explain it. So like on this side, the same thing. I kind of want to, if you bend it back, you obviously don't want the wing going back. You want it to be pretty straight out. And you do that by kind of bending that. So then now that's pretty even, because you kind of have to envision once the wires are on here. And then I'm going to show that too. So what I'm probably going to do is pause it, do the clay work on the head, and then figure out the wire. Yeah, let's do that. So I'll be right back. All right, I haven't set up, so I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go ahead and wire the wing. Let me see if I can focus this in. There we go. Okay. I have it kind of set up on a little stand, because then by the time I do the head and clay, come back, it's just going to be no real point, because we've done that in the last video on multiple. So I don't want to just keep doing beating a dead horse. All right, so for here, let's make sure it's still good. Damn it. So then all I'm going to do here is I'm just trying to put the wire in, and then we'll kind of show, I guess, the taping and all that good stuff. So wire is going to go right above the side pocket. I'll kind of push that down right behind, above the side pocket, but below the kind of group of feathers along the back. So I'll push that in. Normally I do it from the other side, but again, I can't keep moving this around, like it's hard enough. So then I'm going to just kind of, and then this part just depends. So like If I want it to be a little raised, say like I want the scaps and the tertials to kind of be kind of a humped look on the back, then this is where you can adjust it here as far as the height. Then, so it's kind of straight, so all I'm going to do is kind of give it, not much, I mean just a very slight arc, because you don't want it to be cupped, but you don't want it to be droopy either. So I'm just going to go along the underneath here, and then, yeah, let's do the top, and then I can kind of show, I'll maybe tape the primaries, and then, so now I'm just kind of looking, almost forgot. So then the main thing, once you have the wing set like we did before, the big important thing is pinning. So what I'm going to do is I want to make sure the scaps are clear, kind of move the side pockets and everything, just kind of expose the wing. You just want to pin to where it's kind of tight, like not too tight. I can kind of feel right here where I cut the divot, where the wing bone goes in. And so all I'm trying to do there is I'm pinning it kind of to the far side of that. And then at the same time, I'm kind of pulling just to make sure that I have something solid to pin into, but then also I'm not pinching a bunch of the skin, so you can kind of, press it back over. So then now you can see, hold on, so it's hard to, because it's like you got to be close enough to see, but then it's too far away. So now you can kind of see the difference between the two is now, this one's nice and snug. We'll do the same thing for this side, obviously. I'm just trying to make sure nothing's getting trapped underneath. And then I'm kind of just pinning it straight through the flight web. Pull it, kind of get to the top of that little ridge. So like if we were, and then from there just kind of untuck the scaps, because they're going to kind of be, tucked a little bit just from the drying process. But so now you can kind of see, you got a nice little arc. So then when the wing is spread open, and then a lot of the times this area where the primaries start going to the secondaries, that's kind of where it'll droop a little. Basically, you can kind of see here where I bent. So we went, and then I'm kind of just doing this. I'm just bending it up, so that way it kind of goes along. It'll kind of arc, and then it'll loop back up. And then that's what I attach the primaries to. And like I said, the wing thing is just, it's so important for the shape, obviously the look, but, that's something I see. When I grab the primaries here, then what I'll try to do is hold this and then kind of bend that wire up. So the little arched part, I just want to kind of give that a little boost. So these here, I can kind of tell the primaries are going to be a little, sometimes they'll lay flat. I like to card no matter what, just because, why not, first off, and secondly, it's kind of like, it gets them nice and straightened out. Well, so I'm just kind of giving him a little open wing, but nothing crazy. Like I said, we're just focused on this one because I just want to get this, this is like the whole point. So I've got one stripe, I'm just putting this on my shirt. Secondaries. And then I have a couple smaller ones for the tail. Obviously, I'm going to do the same for the other wing. So I have primary, secondaries, and then I'm going to have another strip, and then this is going to be for the greater coverts. Because you really want them to be, especially like, obviously this is a diver hybrid, so it's got, but if you're talking mallard, pintail, green wing, a lot of the species in general will have a lot of color on the graded cobra. That's where the stripe comes from, the white stripe and the mallard, and so on and so forth. So it's always real important. So then I'll just kind of cut that in half. So I'll kind of press this against my shirt a few times, and then what we'll do is, so like I said, the main thing I was going to do is, a few of them, but we already did injection. We already did a lot of the different stuff. So I was like, let's just do the wing. Because I think I did on Emperor Goose kind of, but so I'm just kind of starting first and second primary. I wanted to kind of angle along that. I'm going to lock in the first and second, just so that way the wire kind of holds. Then from there, I'm just kind of pulling and pressing, trying to get it to lay flat against the next one. Because these will kind of tend to, not necessarily lay perfectly flat, which is also why we're going to card it too, but, we'll see. I was thinking about that too, so I had a few comments, right? Like I had one about fixing broken bones. I mean, just in general, like I don't really mess with that, just because I'll use whatever I can as a reference. I'll try to maybe do something, but honestly, I normally just use a wire and I stick it into, the center of the bone to kind of hold it in place on, say, like a flying goose, or because if you lose the bone, like I guess if you're trying to keep it, the problem is bones, it's very hard. Super glue will kind of hold it. So if you do want to like clean it really good, wipe it down, super glue it, you might be able to kind of get away, get that to hold a little bit. Hold on, hold on, I'll be right back. I'm just going to get some cardboard for this thing right here, and then we'll be good. All right, so we got the cardboard, just strips, not really much explanation. So I kind of just bend a little bit because I want that where the secondaries or primaries are going in. I don't want it to be straight because then it'll kind of dart off a little bit. I want to kind of measure that, cut it to size because I kind of like the tape to be over it. So I kind of just get the bottom here locked in, and then I'll pull tight with the front, and then generally these are a lifesaver here, and then I'll just kind of generally clip, and then that holds your primary straight. It holds them nice and snug so that the wing feathers are set up right. Actually, it looks like I have a couple feathers. It's hard to see from this angle. No big deal. So I just had a couple here that I didn't see one of the primaries when I was pulling. But same thing. Pull, spread out, flat, blah blah. Same old. So then I'm just, like I said, going to the secondaries. I'll go back out here, pull tight, and then now I got a nice spread. And like I said, then that'll keep. Most of the time, I mean, a lot of times they'll be straight for you, but it's just kind of like if you can card it and have it nice and flat, and you can have them, because they'll want to like, the pressure will want to like buckle in on top of each other or be wavy, and then sometimes it'll be, just depends on the bird. Like once it's skinned and dried, what happens. But then you'll be able to actually see when as you pull, it's like an accordion, straightens out. And then obviously once it dries like that, then you're good to go. So like I said, we'll just do this one because I still have to do the head and neck, and the second wing is the same thing. So all I'm trying to do here is just kind of get the primaries. So I like to have them, because generally generally the scaps and the tertials will be kind of make a plane to the body, kind of a line. Sometimes I like to have them if they're out a little bit, or if this part is up a little, it gives them a cool look. So it's more for aesthetics than it is. Because again, you see a flying bird, a lot of it, right here, I kind of run the the tweezers along, these always are going to get trapped. The V along the back, the Scaups almost always cover that. So just, you can just kind of run along and then untuck it, and then you're good to go. All right, so, and I'll post some pictures up on Instagram when this guy's finished everything. Again, the point to this was just get the wings and everything done. So like here, if it's going to go over the clip, just move it real quick. That way I can remove the clip when it's dry, and I don't have. So now I'm just going. So basically here, it's kind of like I'm just kind of grabbing from underneath, and I want obviously the quills to be covered up. So it's kind of like just barely covering the quills, and then I can just slide the other feathers along. And then as I get to kind of the end here, because you want this to be flat of any part, I'll kind of get the scap. So like say on a puddle duck or something with a lot of, then you'll want to kind of just press it flat, groom a little bit just to kind of get it, just to kind of get the feathers where you want them to stay. And then I'll press that in there. So then another thing that I've kind of started doing not too long ago is pinning the tertials to the body, and that helps, same concept as here, helps tighten this up and make sure it's flat. And again, a lot of this stuff is, each bird is going to be, some are going to go together where it's like, oh man, it fell together so easy and everything's perfect. Some are going to be like, golly, man, everything's fighting you. And a lot of these kind of steps are just like, you know what, so all I'm doing is just kind of putting a pin in there and the tape to where it kind of presses a little bit. Now I've got secondaries pulled tight, I got the primaries pulled flat and tight, and then you got shape of the wing. Obviously this is pinned, so all we have to do now is greater coverts and then card, and it's good until it dries. So then here, just going to make sure to kind of, and there'll be some feathers on the upside of here that, will be trapped underneath. I worry about that kind of after I have it taped, because these are kind of the big ones that, again, on most birds, it's a really big deal, because, say a mallard at the white bar is real jagged and not together, or some of them are kind of trapped underneath. It really, it's very apparent to the eye. And if they're nice and straight and everything's kind of taped and it's, very symmetrical, then it also is appealing to the eye in a positive way. So then here, I'm just kind of getting them. You're generally going to have more of a hump right here at the end, for whatever reason. So then I'm just going to take my piece that we cut. I can't figure out if I'm sitting or standing. I'm just going to kind of press down. Let me see if I should maybe I'll do it this way. So I'm just kind of pressing down on the beginning part, on the end, making sure there's no gaps. I'm going to kind of lay over the top, starting with, and then I'm just going to press. I just want to make sure everything's pressed down. That's the basic gist of it. Sometimes from here I'll try to get where I can catch this little thumb there. And then from here it's just untrapping any of the feathers, because you want to make sure that you get them dried, and then by the process of doing that, then of course you're going to get a lot of them that are tucked up. So, but like I said, I guess the last video looked pretty good. There was quite a few views at the beginning for the cinnamon blue wing, which, man, I'm excited to get some pictures of that. Like, the green wing and the blue wing it's going with are just studs, like perfect examples. So I mean, the guy who got the hybrid, he's going to have a hell of a scene. And this one too, man, this is going to be crazy. So this is like the Scaup Redhead hybrid is flying on a big piece of wood with a Scaup drake, a Redhead drake, and then I think a Redhead hen in there. So there's going to be, Redhead Scaup, lesser Scaup, Redhead drake, and Redhead hen, and they're all in this big piece of wood flying together. And so parent species. So it's going to be really cool. But actually, both these hybrids, and hopefully the strap mount with the blue-winged cinnamon. Obviously, as soon as he gets a regular cinnamon drake, which is ironic because you got the hybrid before the freaking regular cinnamon, which is a feat in itself. Okay, and then so now we got everything taped. Everything's good there. On the underside, like I said, I'm gonna just try to. And then on here, you just want to make sure, the feathers are, kind of get them unstuck, press them underneath the wire, and then because if you move them kind of left and right, they'll pop out from kind of being accordioned on top of each other. So I'm just kind of getting everything in place. Most of the wing is going to be just like unsticking stuff, to be honest. And then a lot of this stuff right here, this will all lay down here in a second once I card it. And then we'll be good to go. And then, so like I said, this is for, let me think. So I mean, really, for most of flying birds, it's just important. I mean, it's just the concept of it for geese, for whatever bird. The primary is a big one, especially on bigger birds, because they will tend to, want to press back against the wire, or they'll want to kind of bunch up just a little bit, and then obviously you flatten them out. We've already done all the other stuff as far as pinning the belly up and claying the wings and all that. So I wanted to do just a real in-depth setting the wing from start to finish. The shape, and like I said, you're wanting to get the elbow, kind of press it against the body. The wire has memory, so it's going to kind of come back a little bit, which is fine. But you want the elbow to be fairly close to the body. And if the elbow is far away, then you need to make sure to bend it. Obviously, when you do that, then you need to bend the rest of the wing flat again, or else the wing is going to, because the wing, you want a pretty nice straight line. From the top view, we have a nice, bird-looking kind of view. And that's kind of what I base most of it off of, is just a nice sharp, looking front view. And then, like I said, with the scaps, I'll try to get them kind of just level, flush. You can kind of have them raised up a little bit. You just want to keep the wire. The purpose of the wire is obviously to hold the wing in place and hold it up, because otherwise they'll droop. And you'll see a lot of it, even with some with wire. These feathers shouldn't be drooping down. When they're flying, they should be pretty much going level with the body. I mean, just think of an airplane with the wings droop down. I mean, it's the same thing. So I'm just going to do this here, and I'm just kind of going underneath the wire and kind of underneath actually, if it's snug, sometimes try to find out where this damn thing's at. Sometimes you'll have to remove the pin from the cardboard, because it'll. So I'm just trying to get the V right there at the base of the body, and I'm trying to get this, not necessarily flush, but pretty close, because once you go to pin it with those, what are they? I guess hairpins. If this is too far forward, then it won't press as flat. So you want to get it flush. And like I said, if there's any other, there's obviously trying to do a few different things, a little bit more complex, a little more specific. I would say with this, the biggest thing, like I said, just wing shape, just as far as like advanced or competition pieces, or even um, just advancement and just commercial work. You know, if you look at a wing, you want the pins to kind of tighten this flight web up a little bit. You want the shape, obviously, to be symmetrical, which is always, it's going to be sometimes hard on commercial mounts because they're kind of, they want to be back out and blah, blah, blah. Like I say, carding the wings is always, carding the wings is always important. The greater coverts, getting those lines up, just like on the head, I mean, makes such a big difference in the outlook. So, um, here I'm kind of going underneath the scaps because I don't want them to be on top, um, or I don't want them to press the scaps down, I should say. So I'm doing the first one on the outer. I'm coming on the inside here. Hold on. So then that's pressing, and then from here I'll kind of just peek and make sure there's nothing. And then this is where you'll get kind of a few feathers that might uh, press up instead of laying flat. And so I'm just going to kind of come in, make sure that that's all down, kind of do the second clip here, and then kind of just lightly go in there and make sure everything is kind of laying as it should. And then I'll get the scaps, just kind of make sure that they're not being distorted at all from having the carding on there. And then other than that, that's about it. And then of course from here I'm just going to do the head and neck, which did on the last one, and do the injection, which we did, which was cool because we finally got to do that live action. And but that's it. And then the carding, I'll leave that on. So now you can see it's nice and crisp and flat. Leave that on until it's dry. You can see the other side here. Obviously, I got to do all the same thing just to get it. Main thing is a lot of feathers will overlap here. So you can kind of see, like when you're just taping them up, there's a big overlap in these. So that's kind of why I do the primaries. And then I make sure to move these secondaries down. Not only as it'll go back towards the body here, but just, no overlap. And then obviously getting this line here makes a big difference. So then I'll kind of just open up, make sure they're both opened up the same amount. And that's it. So this one, I'm going to do, obviously I have to do, it's going to be a pretty one. This is, it's kind of like Redhead a little bit, but then it's got the kind of Scaup color in there. So it's going to be cool. But anyway, I'm going to upload this one and then figure out what to do for the next one. We're already kind of getting long, but same procedure for the other side, and should be good to go. So, all right, guys, appreciate it.